Well, well, well. It is Wednesday Night Live. It is Stoppage Time FC. Stoppage Time at Football Club is a Facebook group. If you're watching this, you should be subscribed. This is one of those red letter days in football where literally everyone on the screen you see teams played in the same day. And to say the results were mixed, it would be an underestimation. What's going on? This is Ron. I got Joe, Diego, my good friend, my new best friend, Jack. Zach's building. I don't know where we start, fellas. Do we want to start with that?
We start with the biggest game of the day. That's where we start. I'm tired of leading off this stuff with more negativity. I don't need it.
What, Zach? That's so true, and that's right, because we had like the whole Chelsea thing a couple weeks ago, so that's fair. We're going to start with Arsenal traveling to the Etihad, and what really is, for all intents and purposes, the Premier League title game. And it's going like it's gone. The last 11 times Arsenal and Man City have faced off. Man City 4, Arsenal 1. Honestly, it could have been 6-7-1, to be perfectly honest. Aaron Ramsdale, who should have made some other saves, kept the score down. Kevin De Bruyne is just an unbelievable football player.
Not to interrupt you real quick, but I saw a post in our group that was done by a United fan, Corey, who said that KDB is the best ginger to grace the Premier League since Paul Scholes. However, I disagree. I think he's better. I think he's better than Paul Scholes was.
He's got it all. And then I'm gonna let Joe talk because we should let the winners have more to say here. But the greatest troll moment I've ever seen on a football pitch happened today. 3-1, City's in control. Trying to run out the clock. Be about the 5th minute of injury time. I don't know when it happened. Somebody who maybe saw the whole match can tell me when this happened. So Erling Haaland, who usually wears his hair up in the little ponytail situation.
I knew you was going to say that.
Somehow his hair now is down.
He took that down at about 87 minutes.
Okay, the 87th minute, his hair now is magically down. And this is like a shampoo commercial. This is like...
That's exactly what the commentator said, too, while it was happening.
City
was like Fabio running on the beach?
Yes.
Like, unbelievable. So City's running out the clock. Arsenal make another mistake, give the ball away, as they did a lot today. The ball falls to Foden. He makes it a great touch, dismisses the defender, slides it to Haaland. Haaland scores, which of course is now the record-breaking goal, most goals in a 34-game season. But that's not the troll part. The troll part, shout out to Sky Sports, Beat, whoever, they catch the camera, and there's Erling Haaland running to the corner flag with his hair flapping in the breeze. Like literally, you see the hair blowing. I was like, if this is not the most trollish thing, I don't know if Erling Haaland was like, yeah, I'm about to get this record goal. I need this to look good on the camera. But it was trollish a thing as you could ever do. And at that point, I just had to respect it. I'm like,
that's some real life disrespectful shit.
It's really like the fact that he had time to take his hair down in the middle of a Premier League match.
He did it I think it was during the subs when they were bringing people on. Matter of fact, when they brought Foden on, because they brought him on late in like the 87th minute, that's when he did it. And I thought it was odd because, like you said, he normally does that once the match is over. And I was like, I don't think he's subbing off. And I was like, if he's not, that's pretty disrespectful to kind of say like, oh, this is over, but I'm about to do me real quick. So
Unbelievable. So Joe, I want to send it up to you because again, we gotta let the winners have their say, more than their say. I mean, I got nothing. So champ or be champ.
From the moment the first whistle blew, it was very apparent to anybody who watched that game who the best team on the pitch was. It was not
okay, and that's enough about that. No, I'm just continue.
The biggest takeaway I have is this wasn't a typical City at home performance where they controlled the ball for 70% of the match. A good chunk of the time, Arsenal had possession and City just kind of laid back. And I think it's showing some maturity from the team in general and some growth from Pep, who's been very rigid about we're playing this way, we're going to control the ball no matter the outcome, or no, not matter the outcome, no matter the situation, no matter what game it's going to be. And I remember this past week or two, Bernardo Silva was talking to the media a lot, and he was mentioning that they needed to recognize game situation a little bit more and realize you have Kevin and Haaland, and both of them are devastating on the counterattack, especially right now when they're both in form. And they laid back and allowed Arsenal to have the ball in the middle of the pitch. And then once they turned the ball over, it was lightning fast with the counterattacks. And that's not something that we're known for so much. It's more about controlling the ball and controlling possession. And we let Arsenal have it more often than not, and played a little bit more on the counterattack and play a little more defensive. And they did that in against Bayern as well, where they were comfortable letting the other team have the ball. And that's not something that they've always played. So it's showing some growth and I think maturity that in big moments and big games, they're willing to play to the game situation a little bit more and not just play how City likes to play all the time. I mean, you guys said about what? Go ahead, sir.
I said it's not the total football we're used to.
Correct. Hey, total football. Shout out Ted Lasso, my dog. So it was Kevin De Bruyne right now is just unreal. The 2 goals that he scored were insane. Setting up the third for the second one for Stones. Just he's in wonderful form, and him and Haaland have definitely figured out that connection because they were tearing Arsenal apart in the middle of the field. We didn't even see a whole lot of Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish taking the ball wide much. It was straight through the middle and doing whatever. Kevin popped up all over the field. He was clearly given free reign from Pep to just pick spots and pick locations that he felt comfortable in. And that position clearly suits him really well. So the new formation that we've been playing with 3 at the back and Stones playing as a second holding midfielder next to Rodri has been brilliant. So I'm very, very happy, obviously. And it was just beautiful to watch. There were moments where they were just knocking the ball back and forth. They were doing short and longs. They were giving goes. It was beautiful football to watch.
It was, and I know Diego's a big Barcelona fan, Argentina fan, Jack, Chelsea fan. And you could probably tell me if I'm on the right path there. Like, I watched Juan Riquelme with Argentina. And De Bruyne looks like that now, where he's not really fast, but when he turns, when he gets the ball and turns, he's already going 2 steps further than the next defender off the turn. He's not really strong, but when he gets the ball, there is no moving him off the ball, period. And I remember watching Riquelme. I remember watching, Michael Ballack with Chelsea. He's not really fast, but his first 2 steps are faster than everybody else's.
You don't have to be the fastest if you make the better read.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Diego and I have talked about Riquelme before, and the brilliance and the mind on midfielders like this. And that's Michael Ballack is why I like Chelsea. And just when you have that technical and mental expertise, then you don't have to be the most gifted athletically. It definitely helps. But this game, the one thing I love about soccer is that it's not a game where you have to be the biggest, the strongest, the fastest at every position in order to win. Because look at Adama Traore. He is literally the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. And, he's very rarely the best player on the pitch. And so, when you have guys like that who just very rarely do they make the wrong read. Very rarely do they make the wrong pass, and that's Cesc Fabregas is another one that was brilliant at that. And I've always thought that KDB is so much like Cesc, just with a little bit more offensive capabilities. That it's going to be hard for me. I've always been very, very biased towards Cesc as far as like the greatest creative midfielder that, especially in the Premier League, and given his assist records and things like that. But I'll be damned if KDB doesn't make this a serious conversation.
He turns two defenders come at him. He turns out of the quote unquote double team in the correct direction every time. So the two defenders never get anywhere near him. And the second goal, when you nutmeg, when you nutmeg the defender and can still get it to the far post, that's wild. He put it right between Rob Holding's leg and still got it into the far corner.
Just out of the reach of Ramsdale.
Incredible. Just wow.
He reads the game so well. He reads the game so well, and his touch is always into the correct space. Rarely does he ever take a touch. Like you were talking about, his turns are great, but the touch to get that space on that first goal, to get it out from underneath his feet at a full sprint into the perfect amount of weight to get it in front of him to hit that ball first time, you just don't see that.
Right. I'm gonna let Diego and Jack get it. I want to hug, but then the first goal, I'm going to go back to the first goal. They showed the angle on the first goal from the opposite goal line. That ball curved literally 2 feet out of the post and comes back inside. I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's incredible. I thought Haaland today, his first touch, but a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't have a first touch. His first touch was very much there today.
This is one of the most complete performances that he's put in a City shirt out, even with the games where he scored 4 or 5 goals. This one in particular, I think, was his best game.
Yeah, he met Rob Holding, who doesn't belong in an Arsenal shirt. That really, like, you don't belong out here.
Okay, that was before
that's
Diego, that was
rude.
It is. No, it's not rude.
That was my question. Like, are you guys so stretched thin on defenders right now that Rob Holding needs to start? Like, I saw him in the lineup, and I'm like, this is the biggest match of the year. This is the biggest match of the year for y'all. A must win, at least in my eyes. And you start Rob Holding in the middle. Like, I get it. Ben White been a fantastic right back for you guys this year, but I would have been much more comfortable putting someone else on the right hand side, playing him a little bit out of position, and having Ben White in the center.
I would have rather played, and then I'm saying Diego and Jackson step in. I would have rather played Tierney as a wrong-footed right back and with White inside than Rob Holding having to deal with Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Rob Holding, Gabriel didn't really do much better, to be perfectly honest.
He was not good today either.
He didn't really do well, but Diego and Jack, neutral. We're gonna get to Chelsea here in a second.
It's okay if we don't.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to rush.
We
We can
have-
make it like a small segment at like the very end or something. We don't have to dwell on that.
We'll sign off. And Chelsea lost again. Thanks for watching.
Diego and Jack get some time about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I like oh sorry, Jack, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, you know what? I'll go because mine's gonna be really quick. Honestly, I don't care about football anymore as much as I want to. But I did watch the game today. I loved it. I knew how it would go. And I'm going to close out with, it is truly, truly a crime against the entire Premier League that man has never won player of the month, ever. It is a true crime that KDB has never won.
Never won player to really?
KDB has never won it. Never.
Jeez.
Never.
Nonsense.
That's a new one. I didn't know that. That's I'm educated.
Yeah.
The more you know.
No.
Go ahead, Diego. I'm done.
Well, after learning that fact, what kind of validity does that award even have now? Like, I don't know the process of voting on it, whether it's by the coaches or some kind of officials from the English Premier League, but a lot of questions there regarding that fact. So
I lost a lot of respect for the Premier League awards when Antonio Conte won Manager of the Month in a month where Tottenham won 5 out of 7 matches, and Antonio Conte only managed 2 of them, and one of them was one of the losses. You know, that was like, you know what?
I want to go back to the comparison. I like your comparison with KDB and Riquelme, because I think if there's any player that resembles Riquelme's style is Kevin De Bruyne. And I think that with De Bruyne's skill set, he is definitely that transitional player and the point guard in that offensive third of the field. He definitely and I will say this because Riquelme is not known for his athleticism. I still think De Bruyne is probably a bit faster, a bit quicker. Riquelme was on the ball, a genius, off the ball, questionable. But the comparison's there, and I do like that. And I think Riquelme had a quote years ago that he did not like the GPSs that they wear. He said, what is the point of wearing these GPSs tracking the field where they covered, the heat map, or how many kilometers they ran or how fast they sprinted? None of that matters if you turn the ball over, if you receive the ball and you make incorrect passes, or etc. If you play a bad game, what does any of this information matter? What matters is receiving the ball, finding your teammates, executing your passes, shot accuracy, defending one-on-one, going, if you're at one-on-one situation, beating the defender. Those are the things that matter, not, oh, he ran 10 kilometers this game and sprinted, I don't know, 20 miles an hour. Well, big whoop-de-doo, it's
Right.
You lost the ball 20 times and one of those turnovers led to a fast break and you got scored on. So
yeah. Our players covered a lot of ground because they would chase Kevin De Bruyne's, the back of Kevin De Bruyne's jersey for the better part of 90 minutes. So we covered a lot.
Sure.
We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, and then the other thing about the athleticism in soccer, yes, it truly does help. But if we look back at Barcelona's golden era, they played with Xavi Hernandez, Andres Iniesta, Sergio Busquets, and then also Cesc Fabregas. None of those guys are the most athletic. None of those guys are the biggest, fastest, strongest. But yet, them together, arguably the best midfield in recent years. Definitely, I could make an argument for them since 2000. You know, the past 2 decades probably been the best core midfield team. You know, and all under what's up Busquets. Busquets is pretty tall, and so is Fabregas. But Iniesta and Xavi, they're both under 5'9". So
They don't scare
that
anybody
might go
walking off
down.
the bus.
no, no. you see these, you know, these dwarfs coming off the bus. Be like, who are these guys? You know,
Yep.
and then they get on the pitch and you don't even see the ball.
You can't touch them.
No,
Might be the slowest midfield in the history of the game. Like, and I'm talking, we can go back to like the 1700s because that midfield is slow, brilliant. And that's just kind of what I was saying and what you were saying. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, like, athleticism is great, but it only takes you so far. You know,
Only takes you
technical
so-
ability will win that matchup 99% of the time. And you
Mhm.
know, that's part of the reason why I love this game so much is it gives guys who may not be the quote unquote athletic freak or physical specimen to dominate the game. And you can watch the, yeah, I mean, you see it all the time in like YouTube videos that they go out to the street and you'll see the 63-year-old man who's embarrassing these, you know, 18 and 20-year-olds because the technical ability is so sound that, you know, you can run all you want. And like Raquelme said, you can run every day, all day, but I can stand here, stand still, and pass circles around you, you know, and put it in the back of the net. And that's,
Mhm.
KDB is the modern, you know, definitely more athletic version of Raquelme for sure.
Now, speaking of coming off the bus, we're gonna do a transition because I swear to you. So again, I took a peek before the game started, like these lineups. This is not me trolling. I genuinely thought this. I said Frank Lampard picked this lineup out of the hat. Because there's no conceivable way you sat in a coach's meeting, a manager's meeting, and said, okay, Zach, okay, Jack, here's what we're going to do. We're going to play one striker. We've seen one striker before, but we're not going to play the dude that actually plays striker. We're going to play Team Sterling by himself up top. There's no way that was in a manager meeting. No one can tell me that Frank Lampard did not pick that lineup out of the hat today.
You're not addressing the more alarming part about that.
Okay, speak on it.
The more alarming part about that lineup were the two midfielders they had in behind him to give him service. That part. As much as I love him, why is N'Golo Kante playing basically a center attacking position?
Jack,
Bro, like
I read that on the screen and I was like, no, that's a mistake. That's ESPN got a misprint because that's not how that's. No.
You had Enzo playing deeper than Kante.
Well, and see, okay, so this is, and I said this from the get-go. As soon as Kante came back and healthy, I said on the very first show, I can't wait to see whoever is coaching this team to push Enzo forward in a more attacking role and have N'Golo Kante in the back, in the traditional six. Like,
right.
That's where he belongs. And, you know, not only is N'Golo Kante alarming in that position, but you choose his partner as Connor fucking Gallagher. Like, I like Conor Gallagher. I genuinely do. I've talked very highly about him numerous times. However, I'm gonna quote my boy R. Kelly. We're fighting for our fucking lives, and you are gonna start Conor Gallagher and N'Golo Kante in essentially two dueling tens. Like I sent the. It's funny you brought this up because I sent the lineup to Jack and Joe, and I literally sent the Jeff Goldblum gif of him like trying to find the words and just being speechless because like, okay, I get Azpilicueta because Reece James is hurt. Cool, whatever. You want to stick with the back three, you put Chalobah in there. Not my choice. Cool, whatever. You continue to start three midfielders who haven't really played that great together. Cool, whatever. They're still our best three midfielders. How you align them, wrong. Who you put as the main facilitator for Raheem Sterling, wrong. Putting Raheem Sterling, who is a winger, in the middle
on an island,
wrong. Like, I cannot fathom how anyone gets here. And I can't understand how, of all people, Ashley Cole didn't look Frank Lampard in the eye and be like, what the fuck are you doing? You are ruining this team.
I didn't understand it. I mean, like I said, I have negative coaching badges, -6. I was like, that can't be a thing.
You know,
it can't. Right.
The thing that baffles me the most, and I could go throughout the entire season, honestly, and pick, different moments and different lineups, but I'm going to focus on two, and I'm going to focus on Frank. And, let me say that if I have to eat crow, that's fine. I was lobbying for this, to possibly happen in some realm, and it did. I'm not going to fault him for the downfalls because we had these downfalls before he arrived. I can't fault him for that. But these past two lineups between this game today and the Madrid game, I can't explain those lineups at all. At all. Especially in the sense that it's been known all season that our main issue is scoring. We've had little spurts where we were okay on defense, maybe keeping a clean sheet kind of consistently, but we've never been great at scoring. So how you come up with the idea to put a winger by himself on an island and you have, let's say, our 5 to 6 best attacking options on the bench, healthy, not hurt, healthy on the bench.
Wow.
And, like, I'm so over this season. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. And I don't know if this is me sounding cocky at this point. I honestly feel like I know more about football than Todd Bowley does.
That's not, I think everybody on this screen does.
Honestly, that's irrelevant. Like, okay, we can get into this. Like, I could genuinely.
Listen, I'm not gonna make it long and drawn. It's not that deep, but I just feel like this bleeding could have been stopped and or prevented at some point. It didn't have to get this bad. Like, this is historically bad for us. Like, this is
again, like, that doesn't matter because at the end of the day, like, you look at it, we segued out of the blue, out of the complete fucking blue. This club got turned upside down, forced to sell. Bowie came in, great, whatever. He's a new owner. He's new to the sport. There are going to be growing pains, period. You want to do the best. You can't fault the man for trying. He clearly said, whatever it takes to win, I'm willing to do it. Now, was it correct all the time? No. Could it have been better, more efficient? Yes. Did the way that the whole Thomas Tuchel thing go down, was that correct? Probably not. But it doesn't matter. Like, mistakes are going to happen, and I can't be mad about that. They decided that Thomas Tuchel and Bully Clear Lake Capital, their visions did not mesh for the long term. And I said it at the time, if that's your decision, you realize that those two paths are not the same anymore, then it doesn't matter. He needs to go. I didn't really like the firing. Like, I thought it was premature and unwarranted, but it still needed to happen. Now, the Potter hiring, whatever, could have been great. I see the face, but you also can't tell me that some of the greatest Premier League managers who also backed Graham Potter, one being Pep Guardiola, who repeatedly called Potter brilliant. You can't tell me that if one of his peers is thinking the same thing, that it's not correct. It just didn't work. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes that just happens. And then you go and what do? You're already in a bad situation. You need to right the ship. Okay, you bring in the one man who knows what it means to fight for the club. You bring in the one man who knows that what it means to play for the badge, play for the crest. And you try to instill that in the 363 new players that you have on the senior team. Like, and I'm being facetious and very tongue in cheek here, but I'm not mad about the way that management handled everything. Like, yeah, it didn't turn out the way that it could have and probably should have, but you can't fault them for trying and to implement what their ideals are. Because I'm telling you right now, if you look at the situation and you look at Roman losing the club, if any one of the other suitors that was named in the bids for the team had purchased this team, if the Ricketts owned the team right now, we would be in fucking shambles and not in any situation that would look anything positive towards the long term. So I could really care less about this season as a whole. I told Joe probably 4 or 5 months ago during the middle of the World Cup season that this season was going to be dead. It was not going to be good. It was going to be a wash. If we finished inside European League, like, cool. Like, that would be a successful season in my eyes. What I want to see is where we go from here. And this is going to be my barometer. You now have a whole year of what it takes and what it's like to operate a football team at the highest level, under the highest levels of scrutiny, with the highest of expectations. How do you grow from here? Do you continue to move the club in the right direction? Or do we continue this awful season that we have right now? Because that's going to be the true barometer of what Bully and Clear Lake Capital are as owners.
Oddly enough, coming from me, honestly, I'm not even really too mad at Potter. I'm more so mad. How can I put this? I'm more so upset about the Potter situation because I feel like it was rushed. And I also feel like, that's fair that, I know that Pep bigged him up and all that. And I'm not going to say that Pep is wrong, because for me to say Pep is wrong makes me sound like an idiot when we're talking football.
Which you would be.
That's fair. I can acknowledge that. So I'm not going to say that. But I just feel like we could have did a lot better in our due diligence of picking a successor. I feel like he also may be given mistakes, and I'm okay with mistakes especially because, albeit he didn't want to go into detail about which mistakes he made, he did have an interview admitting that he's made mistakes in his first year as our owner. I just feel like he could have pulled the plug sooner. And I feel like, here's more so what I mean about I feel like I know football better than him. It's not that I don't expect him to make mistakes, but I feel like some of the mistakes that he's made, if he was someone who was more in tune with the sport, he wouldn't have made them, and or he wouldn't have made them so quickly, which kind of affected our season in a lot of ways. The fact that, I also have to point out this fact. I don't know, you probably the only ones that watched the game today. And I don't know if you heard this fact, but the fact that Thiago Silva spoke about our dressing room and said that it's so packed that sometimes they have to get dressed like out in the hallway, that's ridiculous. That's
real. That's real, like Saturday league.
Got too many people in there.
You know what I mean? And that's my overall take. It's not that I don't expect mistakes, but I just feel like if there was someone who was a little more in tune with the sport, we could have maybe lessened this blow just, a little bit. At the end of it, I'm okay with losing, as backwards as that may sound. But the way we're losing is what I can't take. If we're losing games, if we losing 3-2, but fighting and scoring, I can live with that. First year, we got some things to correct, but I just can't accept this, Chelsea. I'm sorry.
I got a question. With where the season is at now for Chelsea, I guess my question is, and I don't know you all's like injury situation, whatever. I joked in the group chat, like, oh, you guys in a relegation fight.
Oh no, we are. We can get relegated.
Reality is y'all are too far. Like there's you have to lose like eight in a row to do it happen.
I think we'd have to lose. I think we'd have to lose them all. I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah, like that's likely not gonna happen. So to me, I guess my thing is, especially with
I think the magic number is 40 to almost guarantee you.
Yeah. Like, and you bought all these players in January. A lot of them who are young players. I guess my thing is, why not just say, okay, these last 7-8 games, just give me all the young players the rest of the season. Forget. I mean, not saying forget and not disrespect, but say, look, Thiago, Conte, Azpilicueta, all the guys who are older and probably gonna go, just have to leave for the last 4 weeks, and just play Mudryk. I mean, y'all know the sign. But just give me all the young guys that we bought, and just let me just see it for the last 8 weeks.
I mean, truthfully though, like, the injury record's been dreadful.
It has,
but I mean, we've seen that before, and that we've seen teams that are awful because of it. Chelsea's no exception to that. But I really can't fault them not playing youth. I mean, they've played the hell out of Fofana. Every chance that he's been healthy, he's played. Enzo has started every match, I think, except for one, since he got to the club.
okay.
The only youthful player that's a new signing that hasn't really gotten a fair shake, in my opinion, is Badiashile, because he was in mid-season. He was in shape, and I think he's been the product of circumstance. I think the fact that he wasn't selected for the Champions League roster killed him, because he was playing fantastic in the Prem, and then the Champions League came and we were forced to play somebody else, and that changed everything. Now you have guys like Madueke and Mudryk. Mudryk was in the off season, so he came out of shape and not in game ready speed, so I can't really be mad about that. Madueke was it from the Eredivisie. Like, he's familiar with the Prem. He's played in a lot of substitutes. I think, Carney Chukwuemeka, he hasn't really played much, and he's been here since the rip. You
Mhm.
know, Zachariah, he hasn't played really as much as I kind of expected him to play, especially once Conte went down. Like it's just there's too many players, not enough positions, and Chelsea sit at 39 points right now. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think any team that has scored 40 points
Yeah,
in a
that's
season
magic.
have ever been relegated. So realistically, out of the last 6 matches, we need 1 point. Realistically.
Y'all get that. Y'all get that.
Let me just say, Ronnie, I truly love the optimism that you have for my club. I truly do. I don't think we are out of the realm of being relegated.
No. Seriously?
It would take the guys down there below you to go on a massive run of form that none of them are capable of going on.
And if that's the part that makes us not get relegated, that's fine. Speaking on our part, though, I don't see how. Let me put it this way: I can't guarantee you that we wouldn't lose the rest of these games, especially considering that we still have to play City and Arsenal amongst that.
It doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. They're 10 points above the relegation zone with Leicester, and they have a game in hand. Like, it's not like, I get it. I get your frustrations. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But
Okay, if that's the case, if it's not solely dependent on us losing out, then fine. But if it was solely dependent on us losing out, I would not be the most confident fan in that.
All right. Now we're gonna go to somebody who they had a loss today, but the situation is a little more rosy. It's a little more brighter out there in Barcelona. Diego, Barcelona's sitting really in a pretty comfortable spot, to be honest. I think you told us 11 up, 7 to go. With like Chelsea getting relegated, it would take a lot for Barcelona to not win La Liga at this point. Considering how, with all the things with the money, with the transfer things that didn't, new manager and first-time manager Xavi.
The ref scandal.
Yeah, that ref scandal is ongoing, and it's not
this season
looking.
been what you thought?
I think winning La Liga will still make this a successful season. A lot of from the team's point of view, the other things are out of the control of the team. It's front office scandals. They can't really let that affect them. It's things that been happening even before they got there. This was things that were happening when Xavi was still a player that he had no control over. This is Sandro Rosel's and Bartomeu's doing and those administrations that now it's all coming to the surface. And Barcelona also just announced their agreement for the stadium renovation deal. And that's, going to be $1 billion, multiple billions of dollars that's going to be poured into stadium renovations. It's going to be awesome, but
where are they
financially,
going to get the money from?
I don't know where that funding.
I have a serious question for you. I saw the same article that Jack did. You asked Andreas Christensen and Frank Kessié to lower their salaries. Now, mind you, these are 2 players that you got for free on free transfers, and you're trying to get them to lower their salaries.
They're setting up Mr. Football, aka Lionel Messi, was in Barcelona recently.
He was at La Mesa, right?
He was seen out in the streets riding his bicycle, having dinner with Jordi Alba and Busquets. And the sporting director says there's been no contact with Messi or his dad.
Yeah,
But
Zach.
I think they're trying.
Yeah, Zach. Me and you both. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we know what's going on. They're asking. They want to bring Messi back, but in order to do so, what that means financially, and since they don't have any wiggle room, and La Liga is not. I mean, look at Gavi's situation. He hasn't even been signed as a first team player yet. They didn't allow that to go through. So
That poor kid.
yeah. And so they're trying to get guys to lower their salary to get enough generated to be able to sign Messi back to the team. I don't think that's tough for any player on that roster, because you're there as a top player and you want to, be paid what you're worth, and for them to come and say, hey, we got Messi coming, you got to lower your salary. And that's, yeah.
Other parts of the
Unless-
rumor was Ferran Torres was on the market for 25 mil when y'all gave us 55 for him.
Well,
Which I don't think y'all have actually paid us yet either. So y'all can run us that anytime
I think-
you'd like.
hey Joe, I think Barcelona has IOUs with a lot of folks.
That is a fact.
So
We're gonna get it to you. Don't worry.
yeah.
I'm gonna hit you next Friday.
I'll
But
put 10 on it right now. How about, can I give you 10 for right now?
right.
Here you go. Like, serious question though. Like, it seems to me that Barcelona has to trim the fat somewhere, right? If their goal is to bring Lionel back, to put Gavi on the first team, there's rumors about Aubameyang coming back. Like,
which I like that.
Yeah, I know you do.
I like that.
You can pay us what we paid you, and we'll call it a wash. How about that? Now, like, where does that come from? Because I'm trying to think, like, where are you going to make that money up? Because I know that, and we've talked about this on the summer transfer window and things like that. The great thing about free players is you can take all the money you were going to spend on, transfer fees and put it into their weekly wage. Well, the problem of that is that now you have a huge wage bill, and players get used to making that kind of salary, and then they don't want to give it up. And it's not like the NFL where you can convert that to a signing bonus and get back under the salary cap. So where does Barcelona trim that? Like, do they sell De Jong? Like, are they going to have to sell a
They're gonna have to
plethora of
sell.
players?
I think so. I think they're really gonna have to sell. I don't find a more feasible route at the moment in order to get below the threshold. They're gonna have to really sell, and maybe they may have enough to sign Messi. He's going to be a free transfer. It's not they're not having any clause once his contract's up, I think in June with PSG. So, which that helps, but still his salary, and he may even take a discount. At this point in his career, he may just say, yeah, I'll take a discount. I don't need the 40 million euros that PSG is paying me right now. But it's still gotta, if you're gonna sign Aubameyang, because that from my understanding, is a serious conversation. He did really well in his short time in Barcelona, and I'm sure they'd love to have him. A player that I think could be on the market is Ansu Fati. That hasn't worked out too well. There's been some disappointment from him and his dad, which I think his dad's his representative. So he could be on the market. Ferran Torres could be back on the market.
On a huge wage bill though, right? Like
When they
Fati came to mind, but like when I was thinking about that, like I don't think he was on a huge wage bill, and because of his injury history and everything, you're not going to fetch a large fee for him.
Not huge, but you got to remember they also didn't invest anything in him besides what as a youth. I mean, he's a free player, so anything that you can salvage at this point to open up a roster spot, because even that's going to open enough room to get Gavi on.
Yeah.
And that's also one of their priorities. They next season for sure they have to get Gavi on that first team roster.
Well, that they have to sign him to a contract too, right? Because technically he's on a free this summer.
He's on the Barcelona B or the reserve team contract. He has not extended a professional first team contract. So
he's
basically he's just a call up.
Anybody he want to.
I don't know how that exactly works.
The only reason I say that is because every other player has been linked to my squad. The talk was that Gavi would be available for free this summer due to Barcelona not being able to register him as a senior league player. And with him not having a contract, he's now free to negotiate a pro contract essentially with any team. I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's 100% true or not.
You're right. Here's my thing though. Don't you think though, and I know Joe has his gripe with UEFA for some years about the handling of some things. Fellas, don't you think, and I don't want Diego to throw his club under the bus or don't you think it's the possibility that the King returns to Barcelona, everything that means for Barcelona as a club, La Liga as a league, and the popularity and just the magnitude of him going back? Don't you think they will kind of let some stuff slide if the possibility of like, yo, we could really bring Messi back? Like, yes, we know Barcelona, the finances are all over the place. However, if he comes back, what this does for TV ratings, what this does for everybody.
Spain's government. Get that man to pay taxes back in Spain.
I kind of feel like maybe you can't let all of it go, but some of it might be able to we might be able to let slide some of this.
It's going to be tough. I hear what you're saying, and I think yes, it's as a business, it's in La Liga's best interest to get a name like Messi back for what he generates, just his image generates. But at this point, everything has surfaced that it's just going to strike more suspicion, and if anybody wanted to really dig into and I'm sure they'll have enough to, put some hush money aside to get everyone to, mind their own business. But it would strike, it would strike a lot of questions. I think it's still feasible for Barcelona to do it the right way and even if it is from a little bit of call it guidance from La Liga. But getting enough people on the market, getting good money for the players that they will put on the market should give them enough room to get Gavi and at least Messi. I don't know if by doing that they'd have enough room to get Aubameyang. Probably not, but I don't know. It depends on how much they can alleviate. So it'll be definitely something to follow here in the off season and see what kind of leg room they make on it. I think it's a good sign that Messi has met with the team captains. I'm sure they discussed things. Joe, that is fantastic. I just saw that.
There you go, Ronnie.
That is fantastic.
Disrespectful shit.
Goldilocks.
Shoulders, Vidal Sassoon, make a call. The golden mane of Erling Haaland.
Fabio ass shit right there.
Yeah.
I've never
Glorious.
seen a Viking with such luscious locks.
Beautiful.
Man, I don't want to throw Barca under the bus. And
Go for it. I mean, we already know they're in a tough situation, man.
It's not even that bad, honestly. I don't know if I'm the odd man out on this. I don't want to see that return. And I could tell you multiple reasons, but I'll give you a few. One, if Messi were younger and left, then yes, I would want to see a return. But at this stage of his career, as much as I get that he loves Barcelona, I don't think it's the best move. And I feel like on Barca's part, I get what he means to you all, but I also feel like y'all need to let him go. Y'all, it's almost like a crutch at this point. Like he has to retire at some point. Like the club has to move on from him at some point. And I feel like with this period that you kind of already have, let's just let it be what it is.
Yeah, but Ron,
That is a good point. That is a good point.
I do get the money side. It definitely would bring in revenue, but I just feel like let's just let this be what it is.
I get that, but on the same token, like Messi walks into that starting 11, and not because of who he is.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I'm not saying like he can't play. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying like I don't see him. I'll put it this way: the way we kind of saw Barca drop off, or at least like the plethora of problems that were kind of maybe always there, but we never really saw it because Messi was there. That's more so what I mean about the crutch part. It's not that I don't think Messi can't still play, because again, that would just be idiotic to say. But I feel like if Barca still have those problems and issues to correct, they need to correct them without Messi. Because clearly when he was there, he made it look like everything was great. And the moment he left, it was glaring problems across the board.
Because it was great when Messi was there. So why you always tell me, Ron, two things can be true at the same time.
I should have never told him this quote. Yeah.
So why can't Barcelona do it? Like if he fixes their need, fixes the hole that they have, because their winger play has not been great. They've had injuries, they've had inconsistencies, and if anybody knows what it's like to have inconsistent wingers, it's you and I. So, like, if I'm Barcelona and I'm like, well, shit, I have this issue where I'm not getting production out of my wingers, and I need more money, and I can do this with generating a blank check in one Lionel 10 Messi. Why the hell not? Like it literally is a no-lose situation for Barcelona, because if they want to groom towards the future, who better to learn under than Messi? I can almost guarantee that Ansu Fati wouldn't have been a first teamer without Messi being there before, and guys like Pedri and Gavi, they all learned from him. They are in the first team now because of him and La Mesa. So I'm 100% on the opposite side of you on this one. Like, if I'm Barcelona, I think it is a no-brainer, slam dunk. Do whatever you have to do. Trigger the 976th lever that you have to do to generate the funds to make this happen. Like, sell all the TV rights for the next 10 years. Who gives a shit? Like,
Give them 10 more. Give them 10 more years.
I want everyone to notice something about everyone's positioning on their camera right now. I want everybody to notice how Joe now moved himself almost half of his face off of the screen because he wants all of us to see Erling Haaland and his locks in full flow.
You're pointing up over my head.
I was thinking about that, and that made me think about that Simpsons quote where Bart was like, or Homer was like, "It's the worst day ever," and something else bad happened. Like, no, it's the worst day so far. Like, and you said that was the best troll that you ever seen. That was until Joe topped it.
Joe, I'm learning things that like football Joe is like kind of a mean dude. like
Ruthless.
Joe talking basketball, American football, great guy. He's even nice in our group chat. But this version of Joe, this is a darker side to Joe that I've seen over this last hour and 15 minutes. I don't know if I like it.
This is dark side of the ring.
This is
dark
the
side
dark
of the pit.
thing. So, fellas, before we wrap up, let's talk about it. The Champions League semifinal. We have the Italian derby. We have the Milan derby on one side, and we've got Madrid and City on the other.
Part 2.
Madrid City Part 2. First of all, the fact that we got the Inter AC Milan out here, now in the 90s, you'd have been like, oh yeah, Inter AC Milan, the Champions League semi, of course, that's feasible. But in 2023, I'm shocked that we're here.
I wanted this matchup. When we were doing the preview, I was like, man, I think I want to see this Milan derby, and a Milan derby and its Champions League semifinal. Beautiful.
I mean,
you don't gotta travel very far.
When you top load one side, of the bracket, I mean, it's not that hard to get a Milan derby out of it, I suppose.
I mean, you're just being spiteful now because
I'm not being spiteful. We all said from the jump that entire side. We said that entire side was weak.
You're right, but that's old news. It's time to move on.
Listen, Jack. I don't care. We're not. I have no Euro hopes. I don't care. Okay.
It's okay. Let it go. Just let go. I will say this from a completely objective standpoint. I'm really excited for the Milan derby from the simple point that San Siro is not going to be a thing anymore. They've already announced that they're going to tear it down. They're going to build a brand new stadium. So, like, how cool is it that there's going to be a Milan derby in the Champions League semifinal to like send the San Siro off in such a spectacular way. So
it's poetic.
That alone is really cool to me.
And a two-legged affair at that too, so they get 2 games to send them away.
Yep. So like I'm definitely super excited about that. I will definitely be watching that.
San Siro for the Milan fans, for the AC Milan fans. The Giuseppe Meazza Stadium for the Inter Milan fans. Yeah. So we'll see who gets the final say of what the stadium's name is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well played, sir. Although I can tell you that I've never once called it anything other than San Siro.
Milan's got a little, step up.
Yeah. So like that to me is really, really cool. I am really excited for the other matchup just for the pure football like standpoint from it. I think it's going to be brilliant. And just to caveat, and since we talked about Lionel Messi, if Barcelona is going to bring him back, Carlo Real, like pick up the phone. I hear Cristiano's upset and he's not happy in Saudi Arabia. Bring that shit back. Let's run it back. Let's just bring Gareth Bale out of retirement. Like, let's just do it right. Let's just do it right and bring them all back. And you want to talk about TV ratings would be through the roof, and jersey sales would be on fire,
and financial fair play rule breakings would be off the charts also.
I mean,
Jesus Christ, Zach.
we Jack.
Madrid, they're
pot
better
calling
off
the
financially
kettle
than
black.
Barcelona.
If that's not the pot calling the kettle black right now, considering what we've been doing, whether we've been doing it with loopholes or not, and amortized contracts, like I'm just saying, I'm not gonna quote and bitch about anybody in financial fair play for at least a couple of years till we kind of level out and
Balance
not,
the books a little bit.
We have
Yeah.
we have an exodus on the way, so it's okay.
I sure fucking hope so, because I can't even name everybody in the first team right now, and I'm racking my brain around it. So if
Joe, City back to a Champions League semi, facing Madrid. Is this it? I know I ask you this every year.
We always in the semifinals. We're
always here.
Always a bridesmaid,
never a bride.
Is this? But now that you do have the Terminator up front, is this it? Is the Terminator the final piece?
I think based on the experiences that they've had the last couple of years of losing a final, losing a heartbreaking semifinal, and kind of what I talked about at the beginning when I was discussing City, they appear to be learning from past mistakes. In big games this year, Pep has not tried to get crazy for the most part, and he's kept it very simple and put his best lineup out there and let them do what they're supposed to do, which is to win football games for us. And I know Madrid has history. I know that they came back and took it from us at the very end last year when it seemed like things were wrapped up. But I do think that this year it lines up very well for us. I think the form that we're in right now is better than anybody else that's currently in the tournament. We have one of the best coaches in the world. Holland, I think, makes a big difference the way that they've been playing with him lately. And if Madrid beat us, then tip the cap to them, because they're being a hell of a team, because we're playing really well.
I think that this is a matchup where as much attention as Holland will get from the Madrid defenders, that I think Pep has Alvarez up his sleeve. And I think this is a game or a matchup where I think Alvarez can create a little bit of a difference. I'm hoping, because there's been a lot of, he's on the bench, they spend money for him, not doing well, not performing. But I'm not all sold. I think Pep really, he spoke very highly of him. And even if he does come off the bench, he's going to utilize him in situations where I think he's going to can make a difference potentially.
They rate him very highly at the club, and he provides a different type of energy when he comes in off the bench. Mm-hmm. He's a pest, just like Bernardo Silva and Foden, and when Kevin feels like it, Kevin can be with the pressing and just being a gnat on those defenders when they have the ball. He doesn't stop running from the moment he steps on the pitch. So we definitely have more of a variety of ways to score. So I don't think a situation would happen like last year where we should have won that first leg 7 or 8-3, and we only ended up winning 4-3, which gave them a little bit of hope going back to the Bernabeu. But this year, it is second leg will be at the Etihad, and it's been a fortress lately. And I think, like I said, I think they've learned from their past mistakes this year, and I truly think that we're going to be hoisting the trophy at second week of June.
Let's make these predictions.
Let's-
We know Joe's got
Guardiola really wants one with I mean, it's been a while. They said they couldn't do it without Messi and Barcelona squad, so this is about as close as he's gotten to the golden era of Barcelona. These guys, they play some beautiful football.
I got City against AC.
I agree.
really.
Yeah.
And with City
There you
winning.
go.
I think I like that matchup too. City and AC. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Inter got through. But right now with the form that AC Milan's on, they beat Napoli. I think they're in a hot streak right now. So I'll take the AC with versus Manchester City.
So we got City versus AC for 3 out of the 5 of the panel. Jack, you gonna make it 4 out of the 5?
He ain't picking Inter.
I know he's not. That's why I
His
wanna hear-
nemesis is on that
I
team.
wanna-
Ain't no way
I
he's
wanna-
picking Inter Milan.
I want to hear him say it.
What? You know, I'm just sometimes the assumptions y'all make about me. You
Are
know,
100% correct.
no, you know, oddly enough, if I'm being honest, I truly don't know who I would pick in the Milan derby, honestly. If I recall correctly, I believe Inter has kind of had their number in that matchup recently. But in all honesty, I don't care because whoever makes it from that side is going to lose in my books. But I would love to see Inter make it. I would love to see Inter make it. You want to know why?
Is that because
So I can watch Lukaku lose. So I can watch Lukaku lose. I would love to see Inter make it just so he can lose to City. I have City winning though.
You know what? I'm gonna make this real simple. I have Inter winning, like not the whole thing, but the Milan derby.
Milan derby.
But part of me wants to see Lukaku score the game-winning goal in the Champions League final just to spite you, just because of how petty you are right now. It's not a good look. It's not a good look, sir. But
your own people. It be your own people. It be your friends, man. It be your friends.
Hear me out. Hear me out. What also would that do?
I guess it would take his stock up, I suppose.
Bingo. So slow your roll, sir.
And Chelsea gets a cut. Would Chelsea get a cut? Oh, he's on loan right now.
Yeah, he's on loan. He's still our player, unfortunately. And Inter said this him back. So
what are you? Yeah, what is your beef against him? You want him scoring like 40 goals this year?
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, then you sell him, and
you want to know why? Let me tell you why.
He's such a bitter housewife right now.
Let me tell you why I don't. And no, I'm not even going to go the bitter route. You tell me I should want him scoring a lot of goals right now. The problem is that everywhere in his career, he scored a lot of goals. It seems that the only place he doesn't do that is at Chelsea. So, I mean, I could want him to score a lot, but it never seems to translate here for some odd reason. At this point, I've conceded that he's probably coming back. I've conceded with all the signings that we've made. We probably aren't going big for a striker unless we sell him, which I don't know if that's on the cards or not. If he comes back, it is what it is. I don't appreciate the way he kind of disrespected us the first time around. Zach wants me to let that go and move on. Whatever. You know what? I washed my hands of this season. If he comes back, whatever. I'm not buying his jersey again, though. So,
Again, because guess what? It's already in his closet.
So speaking of
it's in the garbage, actually. Thank you very much.
Does he have a
speaking-
buy? Does he have a buy option? Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Oh, you-
No,
no.
The
it
loan
was
does
just
not have a buy option.
no.
Okay.
So he'll be at preseason training at minimum.
Yeah.
Wear that joint to FedEx, bro.
with
Yep.
with Mauricio Pochettino. Unfortunately,
I'm gonna go right down to the gate and I'm gonna call Big Rom over there and I'm like, Big Rom, Ron here is your biggest fan and
Look
he
at his
really
jersey he
wants your
got.
autograph. And you just make his day if you would take your picture with him.
If you saw, I would, Jack. If you saw him, if you crossed paths with Lukaku, tell me that you wouldn't stop and take a photo with him.
oh, I wouldn't.
You
Don't,
lie.
no way. You
sit
crossed
on a
paths
throne
with
of
him. He is
lies.
right in front of you. He is right in front of you, and you get to take a picture with him or get his autograph. You're telling me that you're gonna pass that up? Oh,
I would,
okay.
Man, this
So
man
it's serious.
said,
Okay, all
I'm
right. I'll
not
take
gonna
it.
go the bitter route.
I
And then
would,
proceeds for the
I
next
would
10 minutes to do nothing but be bitter.
listen. Me being bitter is me saying that like I would go to the game and troll him or something. Listen, he can be on my squad, he can play for the club. That does not mean that I have to like him. Okay? It doesn't mean
you-
I'm
that.
so
You
glad.
like him enough to
I'm
get
s-
his jersey.
This was
Listen,
pre-interview.
okay. You know what? Since we're gonna keep bringing up this jersey, let's be clear about this jersey, okay? There was a lot of excitement going on that summer. We had signed like a bunch of big names, and for once, I actually got hyped because in my head at the time, I was like, we finally got a big name striker that really come back. He already played for us. He kind of finished the story. I kind of was mad that he didn't come to us when he went to United in the first place. So I got hyped and I made an irrational decision. And I'm suffering now. So here we are.
I'm so glad this is on YouTube forever so we can go back and when if Rom comes back and we don't sell him and he scores and we somehow win the Premier League or the Champions League, I'm gonna clip this fucking clip and just play it on loop in the group for days and just watch the internal struggle
Write it
that
down,
Jack
Ron.
has to deal with because of this. Now,
I would get a Cesar Azpilicueta picture before I took one with Lukaku.
I mean, he's a club legend. Why wouldn't you?
Okay, give me somebody else. Anybody else, actually. You can name any player on that squad. I would take a picture with him before I take it with Lukaku. I would take a picture with Potter before I take a picture with Lukaku.
Wow.
Zach, you didn't finish your prediction.
I
did.
can't.
Oh.
Jack's running his mouth.
I did. I said I have City winning.
he's
City
doing-
versus Inter, but I have
He's not
City
talking
winning.
to you.
Oh, I
he's
forgot.
asking
There's two
me.
Rons. There's two Rons.
I said Zach.
Oh, I thought you said Jack. See, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, that's okay. Zach and Jack do rhyme.
I have Inter winning the Milan derby. It's kind of either way for me. Like it sucks because it's the tale of Chelsea strikers. Like, do you root for death taxes and Giroud, or do you root for Lukaku for a myriad of reasons? One, it raises his stock. Two, it could propel him into a positive, preseason with Chelsea. Like, there's a lot of things to root for there in that match alone. Plus, it's the Milan derby, like we talked about. I will not deny that Man City is the best team on the best form in the world right now. And I will argue that easily. I don't know if I can bet against Jesus. Point blank, period. And this has nothing to do with City. It has nothing to do with Pep. It literally is the fact that Karim Benzema is on that field. The man just, it really pisses me off because he's done it to Chelsea 3 years in a flipping row almost. He's done it 2 years in a row for sure. And he almost did it 3 years in a row when Chelsea took home the title. Like, the man just pulls out winners. He pulls out that absurd goal or puts himself in that position to get an assist for Vinny. I don't know. Like this is a tough one for me. I really I think I have Madrid. Madrid Inter is my pick right now, as of today. Things are subject to change before first kickoff, but as of today, I think I have Madrid.
You got to respect Madrid in the Champions League. Madrid in the Champions League becomes a different beast.
Mm-hmm.
They are a different beast in Champions League, and the way their season's going, I have no doubt that that locker room has all their efforts and investment in winning this Champions League right now.
They got nothing else to go for, so
Yeah, they got an uphill battle. They definitely have that.
Quick hitters before we get out of here. I'm gonna start with the Chelsea connection. Jack or Zach? Answer this one.
Jack.
Should Bayern Munich not win the Bundesliga? Is Thomas Tuchel the manager come August?
I'm going to say yes. And I think that will more so probably come down to pride than logic. I don't think the ownership can bear, after the scrutiny they kind of felt or got for firing Nagelsmann out of nowhere. I don't think they'll bite that quick. They can't go back on that fast.
I think they absolutely can and will. If they somehow I think if they somehow butcher the Bundesliga after they fired their coach who hadn't lost in the Champions League, like, and they're like, yeah, your Bundesliga record's not good enough for us. Well, now they're crashed out of the Champions League and they are out of all cup competitions in the Bundesliga. And if they manage to take home 0 silverware this year, Thomas, I hope you enjoyed your stay in Bayern, but you gotta go, sir.
I can see that's why I said if they don't, it's pride. But it makes all the sense in the world to do it, though.
I hear PSG is looking for a new manager.
Now,
you guys know where I stand on that.
So,
yes, we do.
We know.
Alley-oop right there. Diego Gallardo has left his position. Is it PSG, or maybe is it a club like a Benfica or a Sporting Lisbon? Who gives him the first opportunity? Because he left his job as the setup to come to Europe. Diego, is this time? Is this we tease you about all the time? You being his agent, but is this the time now?
I think so. I think that what his resume shows, what he's done at River, as much as I hate to say it, because we all know the Boca and River rivalry, but his years there are phenomenal. The resume shows, and the players that he's helped develop and catapult into where they are today, for example, like an Enzo Fernandez, that should be given an opportunity.
Do you really think that he's going to get thrust into such a high-profile job like a PSG, though? Like, I could totally see him taking like a Benfica or Sporting Portugal. Like,
I mean, it could vary. I think he and his agent are looking for whatever opportunity is out there. Obviously, he wants to work, but I think he is very capable and of taking a high-profile team. River is one of the high-profile teams in South America. Boca, River. You can argue, Fluminense in Brazil, Corinthians, but I mean that is the premier team. So I think he's ready for it. And also he has a history of playing at the club. I mean, what else do you want, right? It's like you got a guy who knows and has spent time at the club, who's played in French football before, playing for Monaco and for PSG. Give him an opportunity. Yeah, it's a high profile team, but so be it. I mean, I'm not gonna keep beating this subject because you guys know where I stand. I'm in favor of the move. I hope he can get an opportunity. I like to see the Argentinian coaches do well in Europe, and yeah, and plus at PSG with the team that he's got there, I think he can turn things around and get them on the right track. I know they've
No,
had
you
a
don't-
lot of injury issues and
That's
stuff, but
that's not his team. That's Mbappe's team.
100%.
Mbappe is a second place player right now. For the next 4 years, he will be second place.
Woo!
He already spent time the previous 4 years at first place, so he can handle second. Okay.
And Joe,
Yes, sir.
what happens to the Damian Lillard of the Premier League, aka Harry Kane?
Ooh.
Is
That's-
this will
That's a
this
good
season
analogy.
will this season, which has been as Spursy as you can be, is this the final nail in the coffin that finally gets him out?
That will entirely depend on one Daniel Levy, and if he wants to continue being a dick about any kind of negotiations when it comes to him. I think Harry wants to leave. I think this especially I think the fact that the players were offering to pay the fees for all of the traveling fans for the Newcastle game and ownership didn't do shit. I think that is telling that there is a divide between ownership and where the players are. So I think Harry wants to leave, and it would not surprise me one bit if he ends up in Manchester on the red side, though.
That was my next question. Where does he end up?
I think United are going to shell out cash when the time comes, and I think they're desperate for a striker. Rashford is great out wide. They do not have somebody up in the middle that is going to be able to finish chances, and they are overly reliant on Rashford to score goals to win. When he's not scoring, they ain't winning. That's been
What are you talking about, man? They got Wout Weghorst.
That dude is
playing him as a attacking midfielder.
he is terrible.
He started damn near every one of their games.
He was always terrible. His stats were terrible when they brought him in.
Yes.
So
And he's what, 6'6", and he's playing an attacking midfielder role. Come on now.
Okay, so since we're talking about Spurs, there's a byproduct. There's CJ McCollum to Damian Lillard there in Human Song. Does he go too? Because they've literally wasted both of their most of these careers. So
They both deserve better than this.
definitely. I don't know if you all saw the article, but Nagelsmann actually said he would take over at Spurs. But, and this is a big but, he said that he would need full control over everything, including signings. And
He ain't doing that.
so
I think that was a big reason why Bowley balked as well.
I think so. And hear me out. Hear me out.
Here we go.
Hear me out.
Buckle up.
This is kind of what I mean by deflecting to somebody who has a little more knowledge of the game. I wouldn't have been so ready to say no to that. If I'm accepting that I made mistakes, I'm going to lean a little bit more on somebody who may just know a little more than I do.
That's not Julian Nagelsmann. The man is
That's
younger
fair.
than you and I.
No, and that's fair. But I feel like if that was also the case in Luis Enrique's situation, then that was a mistake to me.
That wasn't the same case.
Okay.
They didn't like Enrique because he hadn't managed club football since 2007 or something like that, and his style was more geared towards La Liga.
Okay.
That was their issue with Luis Enrique.
And that's stupid.
6-1 one half dozen the other, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like at this point, I give less than 0 Fs to give on this situation. We all know who is going to touch down in London and manage this club next. And I'm just, I buckled my seatbelt and I'm just here for the ride.
Question.
I'm pulling for him.
With him being that I just made a connection. So with him being our next manager and the question on hand being, does Son leave? Would you take Son?
Son, no. Kane, yes.
Okay.
Only not because I think Son wouldn't fit. Like Son is world class. We already have 73 wingers. So unless we sell 70 of them, I'm trying to add another one to the list. That's my only issue with
I got you.
With Heung-min Son.
Okay.
Because I heard a report today said they were knocking on Bayern's door asking about the availability of Sadio Mane.
The Mane for Son thing, I've heard that one too. Heard that one. It kind of makes sense.
I don't know if Mane would want to do that to Liverpool.
I mean, Liverpool did it to themselves.
Also,
congratulations, you played yourself.
Also fair. Also
fair. And this is Kane's name has been listed with a myriad of teams, not to exclude ours. Would you? I'll flip this back to you, or Ron or Diego. You can be an objective person in this situation. If you are Chelsea, would you buy Harry Kane?
I don't, and that's more so because of age than anything. I don't. I mean, unless I'll say this: if we're not doing it to be, I guess, our quote unquote long-term solution, then fine. That's fine. He's proven in the league. He knows the league. Then I have no problem with that.
You said your issue with him is age?
If I'm saying more so in the realm of if we plan on him being like our long-term striker or like our striker for the near future, then
you could sign him to a 10-year contract and he still wouldn't be 40. He's 29. Like Harry Kane's just been there for flipping ever.
I mean,
and he's been producing at the highest level. The man has over 200 senior league goals.
Last I checked, y'all got a goal scoring problem, yes?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said, don't get me wrong.
I didn't say it.
He can score. I know he can score. I mean, listen, man. I'm tired of us taking Spurs people at this point. Okay, like I'm tired. Okay, I'm tired, man.
I know. I see you in all black tonight, man.
I don't know what you want from me. Yeah,
dressed
man.
For a funeral.
He's in mourning.
I do hope. I mean, even though it would obviously help them, and Manchester United getting help is not a good thing. He has to get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves better. He deserves to actually win a trophy for once in his life.
Got to get out of there. So,
you know.
My thought process is if Pochettino is the name, right? Which all intents and purposes seems to be the name.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about familiarity? There's your guy. And if Lukaku is not in the long-term plans, like it has been widely reported, through every head coach that we've now had during the season. You obviously need someone because Aubameyang's gone. Lukaku would then be gone. So now you're left with Kai Havertz, who's not a traditional 9, and Armando Broja and David Datro. So clearly, as much as I love Broja, like I've been advocating for him long before the ACL injury, I don't think Armando Broja is enough right now.
Real quick though, I just remember something. Didn't you tell me Nkunku plays center forward?
Okay, and I'm telling you this right now. If they bought Christopher Nkunku, which seems to be the case, and they turn around and they play him at center forward, I'm going to fucking punch my screen so damn hard. Because why in God's green earth? Like, this is the whole issue I had with Greg Berhalter, playing people out of position. It's the same issue I had with Tuchel, playing people out of position. Like, stop doing it. Stop. Just please, for the love of God, don't ever grow up and just stop. Stop playing people out of position. Let those players thrive in the position that they are good at. Like, it's such an ass backwards thought process. I get it. You want to put your best 11 players on the pitch. So if you have to play them out of position to get them on the pitch, okay, I can see it every once in a while, especially if they're in form. But to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, is the literal definition of insanity. And I feel like I've been saying this all year, and I'm really tired of it. So please, hear me, God. Please stop. Please stop.
So we're gonna run the show back in a couple of weeks, but I first, the Kai Havertz to Madrid rumor was wild.
Hey, bye.
Is wild. And the one thing that absolutely, transfer season, but the one thing that we as a show have to come together on this. We cannot allow this to happen. Diego, I know Diego, you Barcelona, but you have to join me in this fight. Along with Zach, along with Jack. There is no way in hell Jude Bellingham is allowed to go to City. That happened.
I'd rather see him drown in Merseyside than to watch him go and rep City Blue, because that would be a fucking war crime.
No, I will not deal with the Rodri, Bellingham, KDB midfield. Are you out of your mind?
Add Foden for it.
No.
Jesus Christ.
I will report a hate crime every single day to the Manchester police just because. That. Joe, I love you, but no, that's not.
Yeah,
that's
so
not okay. It's not okay.
You're my guy, but absolutely not.
Diego's not going to join that, because if that happens, that
Oh.
means we probably sold Bernardo Silva to
I don't.
Barcelona.
Yeah, that doesn't make.
Diego's going to be on my side.
Make up for that.
I would love to take Bernardo.
Y'all want like 3 of our players.
Yeah.
I got a better idea. How about you just take Bellingham?
Nah, we good. He come here.
Before Bellingham would be in the conversation, we got a bigger fish to fry, like trying to get Gavi signed.
Whatever, you'll figure it out. It's all water under the bridge, baby. It's good.
And there
see, I was
football club. We gave y'all about 45 minutes longer, late night football talk.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Jack, shout out to my man Jack in all black in mourning. Shout out to my man Zach. Zach, blur out your Chelsea badge one time for the people. It's out of there. Get it out of here. Shout out to my man Diego. We're going to find Gallardo a job. I think this.
There you go.
We're going to find Gallardo a job just so my man Diego can be represented. And Joe, I don't like this dark side of you very much. Maybe we'll be on better terms tomorrow. Next time we're on the show.
Joe's flicking his hair back, just
Yep. It's not quite as positive as it was, but
Ronnie said, "I love you, but I don't have to like you right now."
Yeah, man, I can't deal with Joe. He's drunk a beer before the show. He's playing in his hair. Nah, I much longer. Stoppage Time FC